All right, not too sure if Fatal can hear me right now. We'll just await the connection to him. But he's currently at the residence where we expect that...
he's on?
Right.
Go, the daughter of Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, Senator Rawlings, came in just a few minutes ago, accompanied by about 3 other vehicles this very afternoon. And apart from that, a number of other vehicles are trooping in here to the residence of former President Jerry John Rawlings. Many individuals are coming in here. As some vehicles are going in, others are coming out. We are trying to get a confirmation from them at this point, but they wouldn't allow us close to the entrance of the house. But what I can tell you now is that so many vehicles are trooping in here at the residence of former President and late President Jerry John Rawlings. Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, she is a politician, a businesswoman, president of the 31st December Women's Movement and founder of the National Democratic Party. Konadu has been a very popular figure in Ghana's political space, contesting in presidential elections over the period. We told that this morning, this dawn, she was taken to the Rich Hospital, and unfortunately she passed on. So as I speak with you, another vehicle is going in there. This vehicle has been going in and out of the house, but where we are stationed, we are unable to get close. But there's an indication that something is definitely wrong in there, because so many vehicles are going in and out of the residence of the former President Jerry John Rawlings. And in November 2020, Jerry John Rawlings himself passed on, and about 5 years following his demise, his wife, we are told this afternoon that she is has also passed on. More on the late First Lady. The last time we saw her in the public space was at the Jubilee House, where she went to lay some flowers following the death of some 8 gallant men who died in that helicopter crash in the Ashanti region. And apart from that, she also traveled to Kumasi following the demise of Asante Hine's mother. But today, it looks like her journey has also come to an end, because this afternoon we're picking up information that she has passed on. More on her, the former First Lady, as we all know, she was very, very instrumental. I mean, I would say that she was one of the most vibrant women politicians here in this country, participating in almost everything as far as Ghana's political space is concerned. I mean, wife to late President Jerry John Rawlings. Her daughter, a few minutes ago, came in here with about 3 other vehicles. We do not really know what is happening in there, but so many people have gone inside the house at the moment. We tried to go in, but the military officers who are stationed here would not allow us to go inside. We tried to talk to them just to, get our information in relation to this particular development, but they were not willing to relay information to us. They told us to be calm, and that if anything, or if there's anything, later we'll get to hear about that. But a number of vehicles are still at that far end. I can see another vehicle trying to make way into the house of, Jerry John Rawlings' house, where we are told that his wife, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, has passed on. So this is the situation at the moment, but we are still monitoring every development, and whatever happens here, we would come back to you and let you hear all the things that would transpire here as far as this particular development is concerned.
Right, thank you so much. Fatal Bayaga is our man, right stationed at the residence of the former late First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. But if you do not believe anything at all, we've got the statement from the presidency confirming the passing of the late Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Now, it says that passing of Mrs. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, government announces with deep regret and profound sorrow the untimely passing of former First Lady and founder of the 31st December Women's Movement, Her Excellency Mrs. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Now, she passed this morning after a short illness. Government extends its deepest condolences to her immediate family. And the statement, of course, is signed by Felix Kwachifu's spokesperson to the President's Minister, Government Communications. And we have just also been telling you that her daughter, as well as her son, Kimathi, and Bevlo Latte, were at the Jubilee House to tell the President about this sad news now, Darren.
Wow. If you're waiting for official confirmation, there you have it. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings dead. Official confirmation from the presidency announcing that she passed away this morning after a short illness. I mean, now it really hits.
Yes, yes.
That
that's sad. I mean,
she's no more.
For some people, when a person passes, they will take a day or two before it hits them later. But for some people as well, they have very profound personalities that it will hit you immediately. Now, of course, because of her elegance, I definitely will miss her for her elegance.
We all remember her, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings.
Of course.
I always remember when it was 6th March, we were all waiting for what she was going to wear because she came with such elegance and she had such presence and she was admired by all. I
also admire the bravery, of course, because one would have thought that she would have loved to stay a First Lady or a former First Lady. And so when she attempted to want to be the flag bearer of the NDC in 2011, when that didn't work out, I like the boldness with which
that she thought she could be president of the country was, I think, a real inspiration for women aspiring to take up that position. So there you have it. It's just taking us a while to get the news to sink in, but Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings is no more. Just a brief about her. She obviously passing away at the age of 76 years. Occupation, a politician. She's also a wife to the late former president, Jerry John Rawlings, MFR.
To stay there a bit, 76, because in nearly 3 weeks would have been her birthday, 17th of November.
Wow. And then she would have been 77.
Yes, yes, yes. 17th November would have been her birthday.
And what we are seeing, MFI, is an end to an era in Ghana's politics. These two people, the late Jerry John Rawlings, now his wife, the late Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, they are no more. What an impact they made in Ghanaian politics. Let's look at her educational background. So basic education at the Ghana International School. She attended Achimota School. We've heard people make a lot of noise about both of them because they were in Achimota School. And she got a degree at the University of Science and Technology. I guess it's KNUST now. Also, she had a diploma in interior design at the London College of Arts. Also a diploma in advanced personnel management, Ghana Management Development and Productivity Institute. So that's educational background.
That explains the whole elegance with which she pushed her fashion sense.
Exactly. There's some creative aspect of her. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense now. Her political career, First Lady, I'm not too sure if we have to go.
Give me a minute, of course, we'll come back to her profile, but we shall now take you back to Parliament where we're learning that our Parliament has adjourned. But you want to stay with us if we have that one?
We'll head right back to Parliament, right? Let's take a look at her political career, MFA. First Lady of Ghana, 1979, 1981 to 2001. Also, first Vice Chairperson of the NDC, 2009 and 2011. Also, she was a presidential aspirant, as we're talking about. In 2011, of course, that didn't go as expected, and that's when she decided that she wanted to start her own political party. So, first woman to run for president 2012. She was hoping to break the glass ceiling, and of course, she didn't succeed at that, but I'm sure it was enough motivation for women aspiring to be president one day. Also, National Democratic Party leader, 2012 to 2024, NDC presidential aspirant 2012. Let's take a look at the next slide as we look at her political career. President, 31st December Women's Movement, 1982. We would never forget the 31st December Women's Movement. She founded it. She was actively engaged with women. I bet in the coming hours we'll be gauging the mood of some of the people she worked with in the 31st December Women's Movement, and how she was able to gather the grassroots, the women, the market women, rally them. I can assure you
that one of the persons that when we get to talk to would tell us more about the 31st December Women's Movement will be the presidential candidate for the CPP, Akosia Frempoma, because they did this together, and she tells me what they went through galvanizing women during the Kalabula era, Kalabuli time, and how they encouraged women to actually take on trade, literacy as well, child development. And so I wouldn't be surprised if women, especially like herself...
Oh, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the 31st December Women's Movement. Popular quotes. One, my desire is to see the emancipation of women at every level of development to enable them to contribute and benefit from the social, economic, and political progress of the country. Would you say she accomplished that? Well, she tried. As we talk about the 31st December Women's Movement, to get women to fight for what they believed in and what they wanted. And so the Beijing conference, she led it, I'm told. It's incredible, her contribution to women emancipation and ensuring that they contribute and benefit from socio-economic and political progress of the country. Another popular quote from her, let's continue to champion policies that protect women farmers, initiatives that promote sustainable farming and ensure women in agric is given respect, dignity, and opportunity. So she was all about the women fighting for women's rights, ensuring that women take their rightful place in society. And so these are some of the things we remember her for. We want to get back to our presidential correspondent, Maxwell Agbagba, because he has some news for us, Emefa.
Absolutely. Maxwell, if you can hear me, what can you report from the presidency? Of course, we have just been telling our viewers that Zenator and her brother, together with Beblo Latte, had been earlier at the presidency to inform the president. We have as well seen the statement, but what more can you report?
Yes, indeed, just about 30 minutes ago, the children of the former First Lady arrived here at the presidency to formally inform President Mahama of the demise or the passing of the former First Lady. They left the Jubilee House just some minutes ago. What you can see on your screens right now is the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, who is trying to comfort the colleague Member of Parliament, Senator Rawlings, who was part of the delegation that visited the presidency to formally inform President Mahama of the passing of the former First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We didn't get any word from them, of course. You would understand the times that we all find ourselves, difficult moments for the family, especially for Kimati and Senator. We've seen them many times with their mother in public. Clearly, you could tell, the love that they have for their mother, just like any child, would have for their parent. In fact, in the last outing, sometime in September, last time, we publicly saw the former First Lady was in the Ashanti region during the funeral of the Asante Hema. And videos went viral, with many commended Kimati Rawlings, especially, about how he's kept very close to his mother, especially after the demise of his father, that is Jerry John Rawlings, who was husband to the former First Lady. Many of the people who we've been speaking to here have been eulogizing the former First Lady. On a normal day, there wouldn't be much of activity that we hear, but at exactly 4 o'clock p.m., they'll be swearing in for justices of the High Court. So already we have some family members of justices this morning arriving here. So this visit by the family of the former First Lady has sort of coincided with the swearing in of the justices of the High Court. And those who've been speaking to here have been eulogizing the former First Lady, especially about how active, she was in the political space. Of course, we all know that she was a First Lady from 1981 to 2001. She didn't stop there, got very active in this political space. In fact, becoming the first woman to contest in the presidential elections. That was the 2016 elections on the ticket, National Democratic, Party, NDP, which, she founded. Indeed, we also know about how she contested former President Atta Mills in 2011. Of course, strained her relationship with the NDC. But in recent times, we've seen her join very close, to the party. So many of the people who've been seen here have been eulogizing the former First Lady, talking about how she worked to empower women, especially with her 31st December movement, which she established sometimes in the 80s. They talk about how that movement also supported women economically. They talk about how that organization also constructed many daycare centers across the country, how it provided skills to women who otherwise didn't have gained those skills like hairdressing, tailoring, and all of that. So it's all praise for the former First Lady here at the presidency. It is expected that the president will make a short statement on this unfortunate demise. Already, the presidency has released a statement talking about confirming the death, and then also stated that she passed on early this morning after a short illness. It is expected that President Mahama will touch briefly in his speech during the swearing in of the justices of the High Court. That is expected to happen at exactly 4:00 p.m. So we're waiting at the presidency to see how that is going to pan out, here.
Mark, we'll be awaiting the president's comments on this, but based on his body language, what can you tell us about the mood of the president right now, having received the news?
You're talking about the body language of the president?
Yes.
Well, we're yet to see the president. In fact, this meeting between the family members of the former First Lady and the president happened behind closed doors. So we didn't get the opportunity to hear the interactions and be part of that particular meeting. But we are told that it was a very short meeting where the family members formally informed the president about the demise of about the death of the former First Lady. So really, we are yet to see, body language of the president. We're yet to see other things as well. But that would happen at exactly 4 p.m. with the start of the swearing in of the justices of the High Court. And we are waiting to hear from the president when he speaks.
All right, Max, we'll come back to you when that happens. But we are seeing shots, Zanato being escorted by Bavulate. I think that was, I'm not too sure, I guess it was at the presidency. You can tell she's showing so much strength at this moment. But I know as we talk about Nana Konadu, about her being a political figure, she was a mother to them. Zanato and her siblings. And I don't want to bring this up, but you lost your mother a while ago, and you can tell she's living through the process, the different phases, the different stages of digesting the news.
Because it would be a normal day for her in Parliament, because Parliament has been on recess for nearly 3 months, if not over 3 months, and it just reconvened on Tuesday. And so it would be a normal busy day for a member of Parliament looking into the tons of bills that are yet to be introduced in Parliament. And so if we follow the story as it's being told, that her mother was rushed to Rich Hospital as well, which of course is where I also lost my mother, which I can relate, because that emergency unit is not a place for the faint-hearted, And so from dawn to morning until this afternoon, I can only understand how she feels. Worse off, She's also a public figure. She has a constituency to represent as well, and people are quite unforgiving. We have as well will require you to do your job while you mourn a statesperson and also mourn that same person who is your mother. But I mean, at this age, one of the good things you want to talk about is some of the things that they did for the country.
The legacy.
Yes, the legacy. Right up to the Beijing conference in 1995, you'd recall that the 31st December movement was a force to reckon. And when the UN had organized that Beijing conference, they were definitely not going to leave the 31st December movement out of it. And so that played a key role. And many say, or many theorists say, that after the engagement at the Beijing conference, most of the policies that were championed over there now took expression in some of our laws in this country. It gave a stronger ground to the gender and children ministry as well, as we see it today. Some of her policies, she's not just a first lady who was elegant. She was also a policy maker. We'll continue this, but we'll take you back to Parliament, where Kweku is still engaging some of the members of Parliament.
As we are in the chamber, the news came, but as of now, you probably know better than I do that if it's been confirmed, because at some stage we had a coma, but I'm not sure. But if
the family have gone to the president, the presidency have just put out a statement confirming that the former first lady has passed.
Okay, then you are the one informing me. I should have been interviewing you. Yes, if it is true, that is a tragic news. Yeah, I mean, we've all known Mrs. Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings for, not personally, but we have known her through her public life, obviously with her husband, Jerry Rawlings, for quite some time. She's been in the public space pretty much all her adult life. And through that, we have known her. She's a very strong woman. Very world woman. She is not a woman who stays behind. She herself has been in frontline politics, obviously with her husband in the 31st December movement, and in her own right as heading a political party, having gone for our elections and all that. We know her passion for the country. She was a formidable lady. And it is not surprising that she's done all the things that she's done, including mobilizing. When they talk about all these affirmative actions we are talking about, she's one of the sources where you talk about mobilization of women, to stand up on their own rights and do things for themselves. The NDC party, where she originates from, has really lost one of its greatest women, and we are all saddened by it. In fact, unfortunately, we never heard that she wasn't well, so this must have come suddenly, whatever triggered it, and so we are all in shock. And I'm sure that in the coming hours and days we will find out more, as you have informed me that the family is going to the presidency. Then of course, then that is true. We will have to, and I'm sure that we, in earnest, with my leader, will be mobilizing ourselves when it is appropriate and convenient to pay a visit, to the family to obviously console them. Our own sister, Honorable Zanetta, who was actually in the chamber yesterday to do a statement of which I contributed to in conclusion. There was no sign, or she never hinted me of anything, going on. I'm fairly close to the family, but she never said anything of what is going on. So it must have been triggered, probably, surprisingly, not something that. But it's a sad loss, really, really sad loss. I mean, it brings the memory of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, who himself left not too long ago, and for the wife to follow. May the good Lord, bless their souls. And I'm sure that sad as it is, it's an opportunity, if you believe in after life, an opportunity for the two of them to meet again. Unite.
Thank you very much. That is the leader together with Honorable Otnia Okwenu. They've spoken to us about this very tragic situation. Parliament didn't sit today for even an hour. It was a very short meeting. Of course, all of these undertones, that was not announced formally on the floor that the House wasn't going to continue sitting today because of that, but everyone knows that the very tragic incident involving the former First Lady, Her Excellency Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, is the trigger for why Parliament has adjourned, sitting less than 20 minutes or 30 minutes. They just laid a few papers and then they left. There are still a few members of Parliament in there. The top has been locked. You would have seen a lot of them still engaged in conversations and all that. The shocking nature of this, MPs talking about himself. Of course, she was a fairly elderly person. She was 76 years, but she wasn't very young. But like you hear the deputy majority leader talk about, it's come as a shock to all of them because there was no news prior to this that the former First Lady has not been well or anything of that sort. And so to just be told today that has happened is quite tragic. I'll see if I can get the second deputy speaker. This tragic passing of the former First Lady. You knew her. I've seen a couple of times when she came to ceremonial events. You went to talk to her. What have you made about this situation?
Like you say, you describe it as a tragedy, and I think it's tragedy in life. It happens when you are not expected. I think we can only wish her soul God's blessings and God's peaceful place, so that the soul can rest. And we wish the family to strength to stand in this tragic situation. I mean, nobody expected, because I think we saw this wonderful woman. I think somewhere last 2 weeks, we saw her around. We saw her in the news. So nobody expected. So it's part of life. We can only pray for her souls. It's something that all of us should be guided. That whatever we are doing, we should prepare. We are all transiting. One day we should all leave. Because there's nothing that one can say. It's very, very tragic.
Your colleague Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, I mean, whenever you are in the chair, you have a very good relationship with her, and she's in the middle of this very tragic loss. What are your message to her as she mourns this loss?
Yeah. I'm praying for her and the siblings. I mean, they should take this tragic situation in their strides. It's part of life. I pray for God's strength so that they may be able to go through this. I mean, you can't describe it. It's a bit shocking. So we'll meet our sister and console her. We pray for God's blessings and God's giving her a wonderful passage to her own bosom.
Thank you very much. That was the second deputy speaker, Honorable Fred Agyeman. Yes, you've also learnt about this very tragic passing. What have been your reactions, your colleagues' matter?
Well, it is sad, it is pathetic. Initially, I didn't believe it because not too long ago, I saw our mother in Kumasi when they did the Satima funeral. I saw her at that particular event. There was no indication or any sign of somebody who was sick and who could give in the ghost at this particular point in time. So when I first heard the news, I didn't believe it. And I had to make a few calls before it was confirmed that indeed she's giving up the ghost. She's somebody that will remember forever and ever. Her contribution to Ghana development, especially our democracy, is something that will not be lost on us for several years to come. Right from the PNDC days, his involvement in mobilizing the women and the affirmative action, the role that she played in it, getting women close and involved in political activities in this country. History and story is there for all to see. I think that she has played her role. If they're good luck, then that is the time for her to come and rest in his bosom. We can only wish her a restful journey, and also wish the family the very best of luck. All of us be part of the activities and make sure that she's given the befitting burial that she rightly deserves.
Thank you very much. Honorable Fred Agyeman, they're telling me how tragic this loss has been. A few more members of Parliament getting out This has been a rather short meeting, rather short sitting of the House, and not much done because ultimately this is a news that just came in a very shocking manner for them, and that is why they are there. So a couple of them still filing out. I mean, talking to me about the person that this former First Lady was, and her demise this morning, which has ultimately led to Parliament to adjourn pretty early. So, Daryl, we will still be pitching camp here. I know there are a few members of Parliament in there. I know there's Kojo Ponkrumani in there. There is Samuel Abujinapo. A couple of them still in there. We will try and talk to as many MPs as we can, because this former First Lady was different in a lot of respect. She cut across. She has such a strong base in the NDC, and now has also a very strong base in the MPP because of the relationship she had with the former President Akufo-Addo, because of the relationship the husband, former President Rawlings, came to have with members of the NPP. And so there's not a single bad word on both sides. People talking about and reflecting deeply about who she was, what she stood for, the 31st December movement, becoming the former First Lady, such a profound and strong pillar in Ghanaian politics. A lot of them talking to me. We're going to get a little bit more reaction before all MPs leave here today. And those of you just joining us, you just heard about this tragic news. And because of that, Parliament has had just about 20-30 minutes sitting. It wasn't announced that this is the reason why the House has taken such an abrupt adjournment today. But we all do know that that is the undertone. Their colleague, this is not just a towering figure in Ghanaian politics. It involves the parent, the mother of one of their colleagues, Dr. Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who've just seen at the Jubilee House in a very somber mood.
Such a profound and strong leader. Thank you so much, Koko Asante. We'll check in with you in the coming hours as and when you have something new to report. Top of the hour, just a quick recap of what we've been reporting so far. Former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings has passed away. In the last few hours, we have gotten confirmation from the presidency, a statement from the presidency saying government announces with deep regret and profound sorrow the untimely passing of former First Lady and founder of the 31st December Women's Movement, Her Excellency Mrs. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Mrs. Rawlings passed this morning after a short illness. Government extends its deepest condolences to her immediate family. That statement signed by Felix Kwachio-Fosu, spokesperson to the president, also Minister of Government Communications. You see that on your screen right now. An important timeline to watch MFR at 4 o'clock. We are expecting the president to make a remark, at least when he does a swearing-in ceremony. So we are watching out for that as well. But this is news we continue to digest, the passing away of former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who would have turned 77, you say, in about 3 months.
She was born 17th of November.
Wow.
Unless otherwise, maybe the family comes to present it.
Very active.
Yes, very active.
You couldn't guess her age because she was all over the place. And like we could point out, was a fatal, which she was recently seen at the funeral of the Dottier of the Asante Hema. But we lost her today.
So you were pitching camp at Parliament, and of course the most important place today would be the residence of the late former First Lady, and still living at the Jubilee House. Maxwell is there for us. You want to stay with us all through. And I was telling you the role that she played. You recall that in the early 1980s, when the PNDC was galvanized in the grassroots. And then there were theories that there were, or reports of inflation, hardship, hunger. She, together with many other women, I already told you, the flag bearer for the 2024 flag bearer for CPP, Akosua Frimpong, together, mostly these two women, took the front line and would go to rural communities to engage with women, especially because healthcare, child advocacy or child growth or development was lacking at the rural communities, which is still the situation now. But they were the ones that encouraged women to start that level of empowerment, to engage them to start little businesses as well, cooperative societies. If you heard of any small women, movement, it was because of the 31st December movement that was started.
Yeah, so I'm reading, there was this micro enterprise support, cassava processing, batik, soap making, vegetable cultivation, encouraging economic self-reliance for women.
You recall the quote that you just read. She envisages women as well in all levels and even in agriculture.
And I think she succeeded at that because we saw these women come together and be a force. If you, I don't know what the situation is like at the markets right now, but that was the base, right, for the 31st December Women's Movement. And I remember anytime there was Independence Day celebration, you see the women there in their numbers to celebrate with her. And so her impact on women and children as well. Remember by the fireside?
Oh, yes.
Yes,
it
was championed by the 31st December Women's Movement as well. She played a critical role in ensuring that children got educated as well. We talked about the preschools, right? The nursery schools, the schools that she helped set up so that children can be properly educated from.
Today, women can campaign and want to seek political positions. After that Beijing declaration, when they return back home, if you read, it will tell you that it would be after that Beijing conference, the 31st December women, when they returned home, they started championing for a place for women in politics. And that, I would say, was what nursed the whole idea of the affirmative action that most people talk about, high women representation. And so when it comes to women in politics, you definitely cannot take away Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Let's take you back to the residence of the former First Lady, Ridge. Well, I'll take you to the hospital instead, which is just a walking distance from her residence. Fatal Bayaga is right there. Fatal, what can you report?
We are right here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, popularly known as the Ridge Hospital. This is the place that the late First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings passed on. We are told that she was rushed in here after a short illness to this very hospital, and she unfortunately passed on. From the hospital to her residence is just a few meters walk. So this is the Greater Accra Regional Hospital where she met her untimely death, the First Lady, former First Lady of Ghana. So we are yet to hear from the authorities here, but we are told that this is where she died. And I've seen a number of people going in and out of the hospital. It appears to be a very busy place this very afternoon following the demise of the First Lady. So people are moving from the hospital to the residence. So they are just routing or moving from the hospital to the residence at this very afternoon. So this is the situation here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. A lot of people are moving from the residence and they are coming here because this is where the longest serving First Lady of this country passed on this dawn, and it's become so busy this afternoon following this very tragic development.
Well, thank you, Bayaga. And we're just bringing you reports from the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which you know as the Ridge Hospital. And I mean, Darryl, nothing prepares you.
Nothing prepares you.
Here's a picture. Look at where the residence is, where the home is. Look at where the hospital is. In Parliament, it's just when you do a runabout and you take a left turn, depending on where you're coming from. And for persons like Zanato, of course, she's going to live this every day, if not on her way home, her way back from Parliament, because everything needs to have been centered around that area.
Around that area. It should be pretty hard for the family, for Zaneto, for the siblings as well. I just also reading that she authored a book. I don't know if many of us know.
A memoir, I think.
It takes a woman which chronicles her life and political journey, and her legacy continues through institutions she helped establish. But questions remain about how much of her vision has been embedded long-term in Ghana's institutional fabric, and that's one thing we need to talk about, because she stood for so much. How much of that would we remember her for in a few years to come? And just some tragic news there. Of course, we can't talk about her impact in politics as well. I think the controversial aspect was when she broke away from...
I find that very bold.
That is
and
bold.
I like it.
That she thought she could be president of the country, and
she wanted to be president of the country.
To start a political party on her own to be a force to reckon with was such a bold move and such a bold decision.
It was as well a test for the NDC as a party to be sure whether they had organized themselves to remain an NDC as it is, especially because of the where it rested so much on the shoulders of the founder, JoyNews. And so it was a good test for the NDC at the time that the former First Lady, who played a key role in that very formative stage from PNDC level to NDC, says that, well, listen, I want to be president. If you're giving me the opportunity, I am testing it myself and I'm breaking away and starting a party. I find that very, very bold. And actually going on to want to have persons represent that party and people, a set of people in Parliament. In 2018, when she authored that memoir, It Takes a Woman.
It Takes a Woman.
A lot was said about her in that memoir. A little later, I'll probably bring you some quotations or some of the sayings that she may have already, right? But would bring you some recap of what has been happening so far. If you're just joining us, JoyNews has been learning the passing of Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. And we've just been telling you as well that the government has as well confirmed this news, and we've been bringing you that update. And as well, her daughter, Senator, who is Member of Parliament for Koliklote as well, together with her brother, Kimathi Rawlings, and as well, Bevlo Latte, went to break the news to the president at the presidency or the Jubilee House as well. Parliament, earlier, you knew, would have a sitting at 2 o'clock, but has adjourned. Not particularly because of this, but you can at least impute that meaning to it, that, of course, for a towering figure like her, there's no way Parliament is going to sit calmly and peacefully. So if you just joined us, that's it. But Daryl, let me be bringing you some of her favorite saying and her quotes. You would find her sometimes say, once women are empowered, the sky is the limit as far as development is concerned. You'd as well remember her for saying, my desire, which you just said, my desire is to see the emancipation of women at every level of development, to enable them to contribute and benefit from the socio-economic and political progress of a country. You'd as well find her say, we have to instill in our children a certain traditional way, even as we become modernized, so that we do not move far too away from who we are as a people. And I think she looked it, she walked it, and she is it. She would usually dress very traditional. She never went away from her kente, no matter what she wore.
And she had this, I don't know how you call it, the headgear.
Sometimes she wears a turban, sometimes she wears a headgear, her duku. It was very symbolic of her. Nana Konadu would never go anywhere without it. And even if she didn't wear anything very traditional, you would find a touch of the kente or African print as well.
She represented us so well. Tell you what, we have a first lady vice president, and someday we are going to have a female president.
As the president.
We can trace it back to her because she started this movement. She thought a woman can become a president in Ghana no matter what. And this, I believe, is something we can remember her for.
It's interesting that you have said this, right? Because so many years ago in America, President Ford was asked a question that in America, who can a woman be president and how can that happen? Now, President Ford answered that question and said that how he thinks that can happen will be that a vice president is female, then the president takes a step or maybe unfortunately passes, then the vice president who is female can be president. But guess what? Over here in Ghana, that's not what we believe. A first lady wanted to be president as well, and then started a party and was on her journey to becoming president. She didn't have to wait for a president to pass.
And I'm sure even though she wasn't president, her influence on the former president, JoyNews, her contribution, her support is something we can talk about. But we want to watch a few clips of interviews she granted recently. Take it away.
I guess we can start with you, the personality Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, arguably one of the very well-known and respected first ladies. Do you miss being first lady?
Well, it depends on what you mean. In the sense that I miss it because of the trappings, no, I don't, because there was no trappings. But in the sense that you can actually get support from external organizations to come and help the women of Ghana and the children of Ghana. Yes, in some ways I do.
Okay.
But I think that generally I'm getting on with what I have to do, and that's it.
Okay. Now, in the years you've been on earth, before politics, did you always think that you'd be a politician today, looking back on your life?
My life has been political, very much so, because from the time of growing up, we had political people in the household. My father had people from both disciplines. We had members of the CPP group who were members of his family, brothers and sisters, and we had members of the UP group who were members of his family, brothers and sisters and uncles and so on. So the household was a very political household. So there's no way that I could have escaped it.
So you're saying that even before you got married to Mr. Rawlings, you always had it in mind to be a politician?
Not that I had it in mind to be a politician. I was brought up in a political home. So politics was part of our everyday life. They quarrel, they argue, but when it comes to sitting down to eat, they are still discussing what is best for the country. So, yes.
Okay. Now, before NDP, you were a politician of another breed. And by that I mean being such a strong pillar in the NDC. Now, if you look back in your time with the NDC, do you have any regrets?
I don't think so.
At all?
No, I don't think so. I don't have regrets in... I can look at it from two angles. If I'm talking about regrets based on maybe some remunerations or something that we're doing that I was benefiting from, no, I have no regrets because there was nothing to benefit from. But regrets in the sense that you have a road that you are on, you're leading in a way to prosperity for the people of Ghana. You're leading, you are on a train, let's say, and you are moving from place to place, level to level, making sure that wherever you pass, you leave something good behind. And suddenly I see that it's turned the other way around, it's going backwards, and so it's destroying the things that have been built. In that respect, yes, there is some regret, okay, but otherwise, no.
We will discuss the NDC as it is and as it was before.
I don't know if I want to be here to talk about NDC. Okay, I want to talk about NDP.
But about where you've been, your political journey in its totality. But your decision to be a member of the NDC before, was it a personal decision or it was one born out of your close ties with Mr. Rawlings?
I didn't join the NDC. I helped to build the NDC. So there are two different things. Okay. I didn't join. So because some of us were not CPP or UP or anything. And the rest of them were like, well, those of us who belong to some other group, we're going back to our grouping. But for those of you who have nowhere to go, well, that's your problem. So then we sat back and said, okay, in that case, let's build something that is revolutionary. So that's what we did.
Why revolutionary?
Well, revolutionary so that we can actually change from just politicking to working towards making people better in Ghana. And that's different from just politicking, you know.
Okay. So at the time, there was a vision for the party, the NDC. You were part of the building of this party. What were these key tenets or the key pillars?
I didn't come here to really come and talk about NDC and build them up. I want to talk about the NDP.
We will in just a minute. I just want to understand how your political journey has been.
Understand it. That's they were going on a certain road and they've really turned left and backwards. Okay. So I don't want to go into that because I want to look forward into NDP and
we will. You see, people want to appreciate where you've come from to where you are. Well, there are some who may be watching you for the very first time and may not know. We may take it for granted, but some may not know.
I hate publicity for another party. I honestly do.
I understand.
But we built the party based on the ideologies of my husband, looking at the way he believed in the country Ghana, that we could all be a part of, you know, decision making, and take ourselves from the quagmire of poverty into prosperity, and then reduce corruption and stealing and unnecessary bickering in the country, develop every part of the country so that, you know, no matter what levels we are at or we are in, we will still slowly be developing, irrespective of where we live. And so there were basic things that we took from the PNDC and then tried to push it into that party at that time.
That party at that time?
That party at that time.
Okay. So what? Today's NDC is a pale shadow of what you created before?
I'm not sure whether it's even a pale shadow. It's a contradiction.
A contradiction?
Total contradiction.
Explain. I don't understand.
A contradiction is when you have something that you want to go here, you put it here, and you're moving in that direction. When you want to contradict it and move in the opposite direction.
Is it the people or the beliefs?
I think that you have to start with the people, because it's the people who activate and actualize suggestions and objectives. So if the people there are not believers in the objectives, then it definitely is not going to happen.
So by people, you mean the executives?
I don't have to go into the nitty-gritty.
Why not?
Because I want to talk about the NDP.
And you will, madam. In just a moment.
You're taking too much of my time. It's 1 hour.
No problem. We will
one day invite me and say the topic is NDC.
And we will have that conversation.
Then we'll have that conversation. But for the moment...
Indulge me for 5 minutes more. Still on this one. Then I'll give you enough time for the NDP. We'll delve with it in its totality from its formation to the end.
I know you won't, but I'll take it anyway. You're just like my son.
No. I will, I promise. But with the NDC, I just want to understand something. What will ever make you consider rejoining the NDC? Is there any possibility like that?
Mr. What's your name again?
Francis.
Francis, whenever I go on a show, I tell my interviewer that I really don't like to use hypothetical situations.
Okay, no hypothesis.
No hypothesis. To give you a hypothetical answer. I don't want to do if.
Okay. Will you ever rejoin?
That is if. It's an if. Will you? That's a hypothetical question. And I'm not going to answer hypothetical questions, no.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Rawlings, your husband, is one of the founding members of the NDC. You also were.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
These days I hear them saying, as one of the founding members.
Yeah.
He is not one of the founding members. He's the founder. We made him the founder as we were building the party. So anybody who says he's one of the founding members, it means they want to reduce him to the level of founding members. He wasn't part of the founding members.
Founding member. Okay.
He's a founder.
So the founder of the party, NDC, Mr. Rawlings, created this party with your support at the time, the NDC of that time. Today you say it's a contradiction, total contradiction. How does he feel about it? You are with him very closely almost every single day, so you know better than all of us. How does he feel about it?
I think he sees the contradictions as well. He is an optimist. He thinks he can stay in and change it and improve it. So let's see.
Is that
I think that he thinks he can, he hopes to be able to correct things.
Is that not something you will have helped him to do? Considering that you started it with him.
I have reached a point where I am building something called the NDP that has its values.
Okay.
I don't have to go back and look for anything. They have its values. We're looking at restoring participatory democracy. We're looking at restoring, probity and accountability. We're looking at making sure that the people of Ghana look forward to something, look up to something, look up to somebody. So I am not going back to see if I can catch some little worm or some little fish in some water that I can't even see. It's just, I am moving on to make sure that his principles are clearly spelled out in this party.
And so you've left the job for him to do alone?
I didn't say I've left a job for him to do. He's the founder. He doesn't have to do the work.
Someone else has to?
He doesn't have to do the work. I mean, he is the founder. And when you're a founder of an organization, if you are the Asante Hene, if I may use my cousin's example, you don't go down to the nitty-gritty and start to solve the problems. No. The big things are brought before you.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly talk about your family before we move to the NDP. The Rawlings' family. I mean, it's one family that many who mention it get very nostalgic about it. That it's one family that's given birth to 2 political parties. You say that you already come from a political family, even before the Rawlings. So, what kind of conversations go on in your home? Is it all politics?
It's not all politics. It's about welfare. It's about everyday life, environment, our lives, our love. It's about everything. You can't just talk about politics and talk about nothing else. Even as I say that I'm from a political family, I do not restrict it to one political family. I'm just saying that I am from a political family, so we're very versatile. Whether it was a military government or a partisan government, my father was always being called to be part of something, you know, so he actually brought people into the household. That made it easier for us to discuss anything and everything.
Okay.
So even as the brothers and so on may be arguing about issues, there comes a time when it's time to eat or something, they're talking about the welfare of the country, the welfare of the people. So yes, that is possible.
What's a regular day in your family like?
Depends what you mean.
I mean in the Rawlings' family, in your home.
It still depends on what you mean. If I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is to have maybe my 10 minutes exercise.
Okay.
Then I get ready and go to work. Invariably, I don't eat breakfast because I don't want to be caught in the traffic. So I rush off to work, and when I get to work, I eat something. I don't get back till late. So when you say the Rawlings family, you're assuming that all the children are staying in the city. I mean, there are no more children. They hear me, they'll kill me. I didn't say that. Our children are not necessarily waiting for us to do stuff with them. Everybody has their lives. So I go to work. I'm here today. Tomorrow I'm somewhere else. I'm busy working on projects with the 31st or looking at issues of the NDP. So by the time I get home, I'm pretty much tired. Or I still go to the gym during the around 5 o'clock for about an hour. And then
so you love keeping fit, that plus work. That's your regular day?
I'm a fun person too.
Okay. What do you do?
Me, I dance a lot.
Okay.
I dance, I swim.
All of that. We'll come to that. We'll come to that in a bit. But you're saying that now it's just you and Mr. Rawlings at home, the kids are all out.
I didn't say that. I said it's as if we do everything with them.
Okay.
I cannot say we do things with them.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
They have their lives.
Everybody
moves on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't mean they don't live in the house. Yeah.
As a mother, what's been your cardinal principle in raising your children?
Good upbringing. Your yes must be yes, your no is no. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Forthrightness, boldness. And last but not the least, respect for the system, the adults, and traditional things, the environment, respect for those things.
Is this something you see around today, or it's something that's missing these days?
To some extent, it's missing, and it kills me. I mean, it breaks my heart, because I think that we all were brought up in, well, not all of us, but those of us who are old enough, were brought up in a situation that's made us very respectful to our adults. There's no way that as a young person, I can walk through that door and I see an older person coming and I will not step back and wait for the older person to pass. No way. It's the same with my children. If somebody is coming through the door older than they are not going through the door pushing their way past. No. They'll step back, the person will come and they'll greet the person, and that's it. I think those things are missing these days, and we got to bring them back, because it's not just our culture, but it's a form of training to have a type of discipline in your life, and that discipline is very important if you want to grow up to be a normal human being.
Just watched that interview with Francis Aban way back in 2016, and joining us now is former United Nations Governor's Advisor, Professor Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who remembers the former First Lady fondly. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Now, this tragic news has been breaking in the last hour. How did you hear the news, and how are you reacting to it? Prof, kindly unmute.
Yes, thanks for having me. I got the news on my platform. I have a platform, I belong to a platform where things really quickly circulate. So I got the news, I think, within minutes of passing away. I was shocked because we never heard she was sick. In fact, during Dasantehine's funeral, I remember seeing her with her children going to pay homage to Dasantehine. Even I understand, if it's correct, that yesterday or so, she even went to commiserate with Mr. Ifa, former head of the Fidelity Bank. So it came very sudden. That's, for me, that's what the shock is. Now, you know, Nana Konadu Agyeman, she's one of a kind, I have to say. She's one of a kind. Because if you recall the so-called revolutionary days, she was one pillar in the whole movement, not at the forefront, but behind her husband, who was the leader of the revolution. And even if you don't like her, you have to admire her courage in many ways. Let me jump over a few. Look, he was politically active and politically engaged. And to some extent, I can even say that she helped in shaping the politics of this country, for better or for worse. But she did. You know, she had the courage to even break away from a party that I believe she was part of the founding, that's the NDC, to form her own political party. All this is to demonstrate the political courage of the person that we have just lost. So for me, I think talking about her, we can also not forget talking about her advocacy for women empowerment. The 31st December movement that she formed, whether you like it or not, she went far with it in supporting women in the country to be empowered in various ways, in industries and other ways. So looking back, I think Nana Konadu Agyeman certainly lived a very, very fruitful life. Turbulent life, I should say, because the late 70s and the early 80s were not the best years in our country, but she was engaged in many ways. And I just admire the courage with which she supported her husband to achieve whatever that they achieved. So I have high admiration for her.
Yeah, Prof, down here, let's delve deeper into her legacy in politics. What would she be remembered for?
The first thing that comes to mind certainly is the women empowerment issue. She was such a strong advocate for women empowerment through the 31st December movement. In fact, she, in many ways, was even a model to some ladies, some young girls, and perhaps women. Just the way she articulated her passion for empowering women. And I think that's one singular act. And for many years, she pushed that until, of course, the 31st December women somehow fizzled out. And even beyond that, occasionally, we did hear her talking about it and taking steps to accomplish that. So her legacy, certainly, I will find that in her woman empowerment movement, which was pursued through the 31st December women. Also, I think we have to also remember her. Again, when I use the word courage, I mean, you see, not every wife has the courage to be behind a husband who was a firebrand, who made a lot of enemies and a lot of others who also loved him. But this woman was constantly behind the husband. And what also I have to say, in the midst of all that, this woman raised 4 beautiful children, almost by herself, because the man was too busy doing politics all the time. From stories, even not staying home most of the time. But this woman single-handedly, I think, has succeeded in bringing these children to a level that all of us can admire. So there are so many good qualities in her, and this is not to brush off a certain thing that perhaps people don't like, including myself, because I also know the story of her involvement in the murder of the 3 judges and the soldier, military major Apa or something. And certainly there's no direct evidence to convict her, but all the stories that I've reviewed, and I tell you, I've read a lot about these things, all of them tend to point in her direction for leaving the keys of the car. But these are things, look, nobody is perfect in this life. So I will really look at the accomplishments, the good thing that she did, not only for herself and her family, but for the country, in particular for women.
Well, Prof, thank you for bringing all of that to light. I'm quite curious, moving on, what kind of qualities from this First Lady would you like to see in other First Ladies that would be emerging?
Interesting. You know, normally First Lady is a bit timid for all kinds of reasons. Maybe some husbands don't want their wives to be at the forefront of politics. So you can understand that. And if I look back from Nkrumah's era, I cannot identify any First Lady who was so politically engaged as Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. You know, first and Nkrumah, perhaps being foreign, did not want to meddle in politics, or perhaps the wife told her not to do that. Subsequently, all the military regime that we had, the wives of the military rulers were a little bit laid back. In this Fourth Republic, from Rawlings, I think in the Republic, Nana Konadu continued in different ways to push the advocacy for women empowerment. And since then, I cannot identify any other First Lady who have been so engaged, so passionate about the issue of women, and supportive of measures by her husband's government to achieve goals. So I can single her out as perhaps one First Lady who was all over the place, pushing her ideas, pushing her women advocacy, supporting her husband. And I think overall, that for me is very, very impressive.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about her advocacy at the Beijing conference, which to a large extent has impacted women in this country. While we reflect on that, what can you share?
Well, you see, I've already established the fact that she was a champion of women advocacy, so it was no surprise that she went to Beijing for the women event. And she was a star there. By the way, let me also tell you, I was in Zimbabwe some years back, as not only the wife of Mugabe, who was a Ghanaian, that influenced the women, they were also influenced by the way Nana Konadu was always dressed in our traditional clothing. She was always promoting that. So when I was in Zimbabwe, I heard this story, how they have been impressed by Nana Konadu, as well as the lady's name I've forgotten, the wife of Mugabe, who was also a Ghanaian. So I think that part of her life went beyond the borders of Ghana. It went beyond that. And when she was advocating, she wasn't only targeting Ghanaian women, she was also Pan-Africanist in the sense that she was talking mostly for African women across the board. And that also made her well known on the continent by women groups and women leaders. So she really made an impact. She made an impact. Yes, she made an impact.
One of the controversial aspects of her political career was her decision to break away from the NDC, start the NDP. Do you think that was a mistake?
I cannot judge that. You see, I've been talking about her courage. Not every person, especially being a co-founder, I even understand, if it's true, that perhaps the flag of the NDC was designed by her. I've heard true or not, we have to verify. So she was an integral part of the founding of the NDC. And for her to decide And her husband, by the way, at the time, was still championing NDC. I don't know how the family house looked like when the wife is driving this track and the husband is also on that track. I don't know. The children, I don't know that. But the fact is that you must have courage to do what she did. And for me, that's what's impressive. Whether it was a mistake or not, she lived her life. And to the end, I don't think she terribly offended anybody. She was just a political animal, and she showed it in many ways, including forming her own political party. That's quite impressive. I cannot recall any woman in our political history who really, if I'm mistaken, please help me, but I can't recall any woman who really formed her own party, breaking away from original party and forming a party. I can't recall any besides Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings.
Prof, I mean, you have used the word courage countless times. If we were to use another word to describe her, what would that be?
A passion for the women advocacy. You know, if you study her life, and I will not claim to be the best student of it, but I think my return to Ghana back in 1994, when I started engaging in Ghanaian politics, I followed her when Rawlings was serving as an elected president. And unfortunately, I didn't meet her one-on-one except one occasion where at a function, I took a picture with her and we spoke at length. You see, everything she did was based on courage. First, that advocacy, that impresses me. The fact that she broke away, you need somebody with courage to do that, especially when your family is divided in terms of political allegiance, you know. Then, of course, things that we don't know, but people speculate she was involved with. And if you don't know also, let me tell you, I was in a program, a small group of people where 1997, President Rawlings addressed his newly appointed ambassadors around the world. And I recall vividly, in the course of, you know how he spoke, around. Then at one point, I wish Nana Konadu was by my side, because she normally would check how I speak. I'm quoting it directly. And that also told me a lot, that perhaps Nana Konadu was a big check on the behavior of the husband, because she said it publicly. I've recorded, you see. So that tells you that perhaps there were certain things she did. Because if you know how rambunctious General Rawlings was, you need to have a strong woman to be able to control him. And I think to a large extent, Nana Konadu did that. So her courage is not only in the public things that we saw, but also perhaps behind the scenes, what she did to bring some sanity in the way her husband was doing things. And I think that was also quite something.
I mean, Prof, what would you, if Donato and her siblings were watching and listening to you now, what would you say to them?
Oh, well, certainly this is a sad day to miss your father and 3 or so years to introduce your mother. So far, the mother has been playing the dual role of father and mother successfully. So certainly we have to console them and assure them that the whole nation is behind them. But you see, life is something nobody controls. Nobody can control life. You can't control your destiny even in that respect. So as bad as this is, they should accept it and just pray that whatever legacy is left behind will be continued by those who really admire women leadership. And I think in all this case, I'm sure they all have their own life to live. One has entered politics. The others, I'm not sure what they do, but I'm sure they are all pursuing their lives. So they should take heart and just know that the nation cannot forget their parents. And I mean that, their parents. And when I say that, I will also add for better or for worse, because I know the controversies surrounding the father in particular. Nonetheless, they all deserve their place in the history of our country.
Well, Prof, thank you. But finally, before maybe I let you go, would you support the calls for a state funeral?
Look, this First Lady has been the longest First Lady in our country. That's a distinction. Then you look at things that she's done, like I've enumerated some of most of them here. State funeral, not in terms of the head of state funeral, but we have different gradations of state funeral. But certainly, she deserves one of those grades. It will be up to the government to determine. But I know that there are gradations, and she deserves some kind of respect for a country that she served for almost 20 years in politics.
Of any other fond memories of her, lighter moments you may want to share?
Well, you see, I wasn't that close to her, I have to admit. But that day we met at that function, we had some interesting conversations. You know, at times, you know, I'm a bit political. And I'm sure that her husband didn't fancy me. But at that point, we talked generally, and I commended her for her work on the women advocacy and her courage that I've been talking about all the time. You know, in many ways, she reminds me of Nana Yasatu.
Wow.
I'm not surprised that they named a child after Yasan was.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
And I also wanted to ask, what can we do to remember her, to keep her in our memory as a country, looking at the sort of contribution she has made on the country?
It's one of the issues. What you just asked is an issue that we seldom discuss, and if we do, nothing happens, you know. We don't seem to have a culture of honoring people who have served this country in many ways. Look, even if the person was not the best that we expected, there must be some aspects of the person's life that we must cherish. There's no national policy that a late First Lady or President should be honored in some ways. You know, President Amel's memorial was built, I know. But we don't, of course, it might have been built. But she was not the president, so we can't go to that level. But I would suppose that the children, they are not, sorry, I use the term children, but I'm sorry, they are grown-ups. The children, they should be able to think as a family to determine how they honor their parents. Oftentimes, if we want to wait on government to do things in this country, nothing happens. And I think they have the standing to champion that kind of memorial that they will want to do for her. I know that when they formed the Rawlings Foundation, the gentleman who was appointed to head it, he came to my office, we spoke for about 2 hours, trying to give him some insights of what I've been doing with the foundation. And then he went back. Occasionally, I hear of the foundation. But I think this is a time that the children, with support from friends and others, can seriously consider some kind of a monument, be it a museum, because you see, the collection of this woman and her husband alone can fill an edifice for a museum. And we have to develop the culture of preserving the mementos of important people who have served this country. So if the government is not going to do it, I think the medical doctor and the other siblings, they can put their heads together. And if the General PC is still running the foundation, see how they can consolidate and expand it to bring the mother into that foundation so they can continuously honor her and the husband.
Well, Prof, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, maybe again before I'd let you go, prior to you telling us today that you were not quite close to her, on a lighter note, did you get people asking you, are you related in any way because of your surname? Did you get questions like that? Because of the Agyeman?
Oh,
not much.
I think our faces are too different for the name to bring us together.
Okay.
She has a more beautiful face than mine, so I don't think so. But certainly, there was an occasion when somebody thought, because I'm Agyeman, I'm related. But I know her father, as she described earlier in the thing that you play. Her father was a very prominent man in Kumasi, I think a banker, if I remember. Very prominent family she comes from. So Agyeman is a popular one among those Asante. So I know, not at all.
Prof, I like the scratch in your head, but thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, and it's nice to know that for a woman, we're remembering, we're not so much in tears, but rather celebrating her. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on her as well.
Right, we have more from that interview with Frances Abba in 2016, where she opens up about her political career and her personal life as well. Take a look.
For Mrs. Rawlings, the mother. I get that part. Nice. Let's now move on to your party, the NDP.
Oh, you've taken a long time to get there.
but we're there now. So I guess we can ease up on the NDP. First of all, I want to understand what informed the creation of this party, NDP.
The same thing that you talked about earlier, in the sense that the principles that we started with from in the other party, and the principles that my husband, who said, you know, we should all be part of decision making, and why we should be part of decision making, and what he started had been thrown into the garbage. And so we're looking at restoring probity and accountability, since these days you don't see much of it in governance. We're looking at restoring participatory democracy, because if we have participatory democracy, that is when the assemblies will work well. And if the assemblies work well, then a lot of the issues that are happening today, like garbage and, you know, bringing people from Accra to build schools in small villages, when the people in that village have carpenters, they have masons, they have civil engineers, you know, they have people who can actually help to build it, even if you give them the design and the money and supervise them, so that money rotates within the districts. And then it makes it easier to collect your taxes. Because when there are no taxes coming from the districts, it means that central government should take care of every district. And that definitely negates decentralization. And so these are things that we were looking at, and bringing people more on board to make sure that if we are able to push the NDP agenda, Ghanaians will be better off, not only economically, but in the safety of their lives as well.
Okay, so and again, listening to the things you say about the tenets for which reason you created the NDP, I've heard some say that there's quite a very thin line if you look at the formation and the very many ideas that created the NDC and the NDP. Both almost look the same. So doesn't it confuse the ordinary Ghanaian looking at the two parties?
The only Ghanaian who will get confused is the one who's already corrupt. They are the only ones who will get confused. Anybody else who has their heads really screwed on well will look at the two parties and say, yes, we can see that these people want to follow a level of probity and accountability and participatory democracy and the other things, you know, ensuring good accountability of our resources, as against those who have come and captured the other party and have actually catapulted it as well and capsized it in such a way that they are running it the way they want.
Who are the ones who've captured it?
I don't want to mention their names. They're not so important to me.
But why not?
I want to talk. I don't, because I don't, you see, let me tell you, I'm an expert in what you call the hidden persuader, and that's advertising. So if I don't like you, I'm not going to advertise you, because I don't care what you wear, I don't care what you say. I'll go somewhere else and maybe deal with it so that you come down further. I won't sit here and propagate you. I definitely will not. So that's why.
So your bid is to promote the NDP, make it
absolutely
a viable, credible option for voters today, and make NDC less of a party.
And
make NDC less of a party. Reduce in terms of its weight and
don't put it this way. If you put it that way, you're being so myopic, and I don't believe that this is your own mind. However, you must put it in a way that will enhance the NDP and put everybody else behind us. The arrow is this way, and the arrow is the NDP.
Okay,
the head
so,
is NDP.
So in the run up to the 2012 elections, the NDP was created. We didn't get the chance to vote for the NDP because you did not make it past the EC's regulations for the elections. Why is that? What happened?
Every time I'm asked this question, then I'm like, I start hating myself. I should have brought my book. I have a copy of the document that the EC rejected. And I make copies of everything that I submit just to put it down for historical, for history's sake. And so when the head of the chairman was flicking through the, literally, that was not my document. If I show you my document, you will have to look to see which parts had not been signed, and you see that, some road somewhere in Bunkrunku, and the people said there's no road, it's just a path. It has no name. So we cannot put a name. All those little things are the ones that he used against me. But we all know that it was not that. So it's okay.
I don't know.
You do.
I don't. What was it?
Joseph.
No, I'm Francis.
Francis. I'll change your name.
I don't know. What is it?
So, in effect, I was taken out of it for no good reason.
The EC did that?
Yes, the chairman of the EC. Because until then, you could not say, I have disqualified somebody. Because I know for a fact there were parties that hadn't done their papers properly, and they gave them a week, 2 weeks to go and finish it up and bring it. They did those things for them. So why did he not do that for me, even if he said I had done the wrong thing, which he knew I hadn't done?
So you think the tables were tipped against you, deliberately?
I'm not sure even if the tables were tipped. One person was tipped against me, and he followed the line. That's it.
I see. Okay, so fast forward now to 2016. You've got all the processes done, haven't you?
Yes, we have everything done. We're waiting for the EC to print out the documents again, so that we can pick the document and start filling them.
Well, yeah, we're still mourning the passing of Ghana's longest-serving First Lady, Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. News just broke earlier today that she had passed on at the Ridge Hospital, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Now,
we've got our eyes on the clock because at 4 we are expecting that the president will make some remarks on her passing. We'll bring that to you once we have it. But such a tragic news to deal with right now. We've lost a political stalwart and advocate for women in the country, former First Lady Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. We continue to digest the news. We continue to reflect on her legacy. A few of her comments on social media, I want to read. This one from Jifa Beho Bampo, a former colleague who also has been following her closely. Says, "What a loss, but what a life, what a legacy. Akranka, you will always be remembered. Thank you for the interviews. You obliged me. Soldier on mom with the Lord. Great chairman." Also another from a colleague journalist, Justice Bedu. "My first sense of public activism was in 1996 as a 9-year-old attending a public march by the 31st December Women's Movement to mark International Women's Day in Subin Hill. The 31st December Women's Movement in Subin was a big platform for not just women, but anyone interested in community development, and marches like that was huge for everyone. There are schools across Ghana, open doors for many, especially in rural Ghana. Nana Konadu, without mincing words, should be Ghana's feminist of all time. All her controversies and shortcomings aside, she lived life and impacted. May she find rest." And we've been talking a lot, MF, about her impact. And here's one of them, the schools in the rural communities and her quest to ensure that women were empowered, children got education, some of the things she'll be remembered for.
Some of us as well remember her for her elegance. I mean, at the time when she was First Lady, of course, since after the Constitution, not before the 1992 Constitution era, but after the 1992 Constitution, where some of us were born, you remember a beautiful, elegant woman who would stand by the president, right? but you're so young, you don't understand what she's saying. It will be later as you're growing, you start to put meaning to some of the things that she said, the elegance with which she walked. In fact, I was growing up thinking she was a beauty queen, honestly, because of the way she put so much effort in the way she looked. Later in your life as a young woman, there's definitely not a better person to look up to if you wanted to be very powerful, forceful, fearless, and courageous. So you saw that in that interview with Frances Urban. She stood her ground. Well, I am here to talk about the NDP.
Yeah.
When are we going to talk about it? Are they here in the last 1 hour? Can we get on and talk about it? And I definitely remember.
She would not mince words. She stood for what she believed in and she would go all out. I think that was one of the reasons she decided that she would start her own party, because she stood for some things, and once she wasn't getting her way, she was going to find another way to get it accomplished.
Let me give you one of the quotes that will come to confirm what you're just saying. She says that if you put something on your mind and your heart to do and to change something or a situation, do not look back. Stay focused and move systematically towards your goal.
Yeah, and to quote Evans Mensah's words, she's the most consequential first lady we ever had in this country.
Absolutely.
No one quite like her because of the things she stood for and the impact she made in politics. We heard Professor Balfour Agyeman-Rawlings talk about her impact when it comes to...
The expression x plus 1 is a factor of x cubed plus 5x squared minus 4.
True.
Correct. Mankasim. The expression x minus 2 is a factor of x cubed minus 3x squared plus 6. Go ahead.
False.
Correct. And that's the end of the do pay true or false round.
In today's world, taking care of your employees means taking care of their health. But navigating the complexities of healthcare plan can be overwhelming. At Ace Medical Insurance, we specialize in health insurance solutions for corporate teams, families, and groups, simplifying healthcare for everyone. We handle the details from plan design and administration to
At the end of the do pay true or false round, Presby Senior High School, Bompata had 37 points. Ademra Senior High School had 43 points. And Mankasim Senior High Technical School had 48 points. So contestants, this is the fifth and final round. We have 4 riddles to solve in this round. Each comes to all schools. You may take 10. So once you feel you have an answer, you press the bell. I'm going to give you clues to help you solve the riddle. If you're able to solve on clue 1, 5 points, 2, 4 points, 3 to the very last, 3 points for you. At stake in this round is the Gore Riddle Bonanza. And the Gore Riddle Bonanza is going to reward any school that is able to solve all 4 riddles correctly or only 3 riddles correctly. If you solve 3 correctly, you earn 800 Ghana cedis. If you solve all four correctly, you earn 1,200 Ghana cedis. So I wish you the best. The Gore Riddle Bonanza is proudly sponsored by Goil Good Energy. We start our fifth round. I am a concept in nuclear chemistry and physics. I'm crucial in nuclear reactors. My name combines the ideas of a threshold and quantity of matter. My value depends on the density and purity of nuclear material. Yes, Mankasim.
Critical mass.
Correct. We are a species of ants. We inhabit humid lowland rainforests. Like many insects, we survive on a diet of nectar and tiny arthropods. We are infamous for having the most painful sting. Yes, Ademra.
Bullet ant.
Correct. I'm a type of force. I can be electric, magnetic, or gravitational in origin. Yes, Presby Senior High.
Field force.
What?
Field force.
Incorrect. I can also be a combination of electric, magnetic, and gravitational forces. I'm the result of the application of vector addition to a set. Yes.
Resultant force.
That's correct. I'm a statistical measure. I'm a measure of location. I am one of the three musketeers. I'm generally not unique. In a given data, I'm the most common. Yes, Presby Senior High.
The mode.
Correct. That's the end of the contest. This very exciting contest has finally ended. Thank you for joining us for this contest. Do make it a point to join us for the next contest, which also promises to be exciting. The National Science and Maths Quiz is proudly sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with Gold PLC and supported by Momo from MTN, JoyNews, Pepsodent, Prudential Life Insurance, DuPay Money Transfer, Truster AI, Adansi Travels, Rwanda, Kivo Gari, Spin City Laundromat, Coronation Insurance, Secure Sanitary Pad, Accra College of Medicine, Academic City University, Bell Beverages, Flora Tissues, Imago from Hashcom, GTP and YFM. At the end of the contest, Presby Senior High School, Bompata had 40 points. Presby Senior High School, we need to bid you farewell here. But I wish you the best in whatever you do from here. Adembra Senior High School, you worked hard. You gave the winners a run for their money. But today was just not your day. I don't know what is in store for you, but I wish you the best. However it goes. You ended the contest with 49 points. Mankasim Senior High Technical School. The first timers. You've caused an upset. The first timers came and they won their first preliminary stage contest. You won the contest with 51 points. And for winning this contest, you have booked yourselves a place at the 1/8 stage. I wish you the best. And I hope you go beyond the 1/8 stage. For first timers, I salute you. Your score may not be the highest for the day, but the school that scored the highest is winning the Pepsodent Highest Scorer Award, which at the stage is worth 1,000 Ghana cedis. The Pepsodent Highest Scorer Award is sponsored by Pepsodent. Every smile matters. But before I say my final goodbyes, Presby Senior High School, you won NSMQ Star, so you are not going empty-handed. Congratulations for that. My name is Dr. Gladys Odeshwinga, your quiz mistress, and this is a primetime production.
In today's world, taking care of your employees means taking care of their health, but navigating the complexities of healthcare plan can be overwhelming. At Ace Medical Insurance, we specialize in health insurance solutions for corporate teams, families, and groups, simplifying healthcare for everyone. We handle the details from plan design and administration to employee enrollment and claim support. We offer flexible options to meet the unique needs of your workforce and their family. Focus on what matters most: your business and your employees. Ace Medical Insurance, the new face of healthcare financing. Visit our website www.acemedinsurance.com or call us today on 030-80-400-35 to discuss a tailored solution for your company.
As a parent, I know how stressful school shopping can be. The long lists, market runs, rising prices, and those tiring trips from shop to shop. But that all changed when Michael's school told me about Chopbox Online. And honestly, it's been a total lifesaver. They've got everything: textbooks, exercise books, provisions, school supplies, birthday packages, even plastic boxes. Over 10,000 items, all in one place, and delivered safely to schools nationwide. And the school box? Strong, clean, and built to fight bed bugs, mold, and petty theft. It even comes with a free water bottle. Their customer service? Absolutely amazing. So if you're a parent like me or a student who wants less stress, tell mum, tell dad, tell everyone. Just visit chopboxonline.com or call or WhatsApp. Customer service is ready to help Monday to Saturday. Chopbox, making school shopping simple nationwide.
Pepsodent is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
When your appliances fail, your reputation follows.
Why are you carrying my tomatoes too again?
To Burkina Faso. To Kobne's house, of course. His blender doesn't sound like dying goods.
Every day, Kobna this, Kobna that. Should I call him to marry you too?
Thank you.
How come your things know they break? How you they manage your house?
Simple. Are you there? It's an app. You just click and they send you trusted artisans and professionals for all your emergency fixes at home and in an office.
Good morning, sir. I get your request. I see say your AC they do skrekpa and the fan there they sleep. That's why I came here to bring peace into your house, eh? You be palm guy, you get all the plots. I wish I get your DNA so.
Oh, you can even request to do a DNA test.